Which I did just see. I did just see Linda Carter talking about Telly Savalas the other day.
Oh.
She was talking about how, like, you know, the debauchery in Hollywood. She was like, yeah, where like another actor asked me to come do lines, and we're doing lines, and we're doing this. And he's like, maybe you want to do those lines topless. And they were going back and forth. And she's like, this actor's a known blah, blah, blah. And he was like debauched and like sex crazed. And she basically just goes, and he was bald and had a TV detective show at the time. I was doing Wonder Woman. It's like, who the fuck else? You know what I mean?
Do you remember Telly Savalas doing the Players Club card gimmick?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit where it was the Players with Yourself Club card bit?
No, probably, but I'm getting old, Joe, which will be something to talk about later.
It was Phil Hartman, and it was just them redoing the commercial. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm not going to do the Phil Hartman impersonation of Telly Savalas, but again, listen, this is for the 50 and over crowd who listens to the podcast, right?
Who loves you, baby?
Right. So the tagline was, "Who loves yourself, baby?"
That's fantastic.
It was great. And the problem is, like, it's one of those skits that it was like a quick hitter, 45 seconds, a minute, whatever it was.
Right.
And because SNL does such a good job of keeping their shit offline.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's all on the cock now.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, except, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know where the hell it is, right?
Right, except for the Milton Berle episode. That's and another one. I don't know, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it's not on the YouTubes, right?
Oh, they're very rare. Only the newer stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to promote that stuff.
You don't know how often I look for as I saw it, they did some sort of other... they did some sort of other Telly Savalas thing with Jim Carrey, right?
Right. Well, you're a big Jim Carrey. That's the last good episode in SNL, right?
That's one of the last ones, yeah.
Right. I stand by anything with Timberlake after that is good, but go ahead.
Anyway. So there's just another thing with Jim Carrey doing a Telly Savalas gimmick as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I always look for the Jimmy Tango's Fat Busters thing, you know?
Right.
And that's another one of those quick hitters that I could never find online.
Yeah. My go-tos... Oh, go ahead.
Is this of audio?
I don't know.
Okay.
Go
ahead, you talk.
No, I was going to say, like, my go-tos are all the original Not Ready for Primetime Players.
Mm-hmm.
Mine are the Bassmaster. I still, like, when I take a drink of a milkshake, go, that's good Bass. Is the one I do. Then I also do, whenever I go out for steak, I'm like, you pick it, you stun it, we kill it, you cook it, like that whole bit where, and it was usually Dan Aykroyd's. There were a lot of good ones, and I'm trying to think if there was one other one, but like those, and when he was the sleazy guy who had the products like like Johnny Switchblade,
yeah,
and the Human Torch costume, those used to make me laugh, but
because I, like I said, I'm a little younger than you.
I used to young.
So like the 89 to like 94 is like my golden era of Saturday Night Live, and I'm looking for it here to see if it's online. And again, just to give you an idea of where this takes place, this is an episode where the host is John Goodman and the musical guest is Faith No More.
All right, yeah.
That's about as cool as it gets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking here, they're doing a bit in the back with, what's-her-face? Who's the Victoria Principal? Victoria Jackson.
Victoria Jackson.
She's doing like a Roseanne gimmick.
Probably doing poetry while doing handstands.
Maybe. Oh, that I don't know.
Don't you remember that was one of her big things? That was like one of her bits. It was terrible.
So I found a version of this skit online.
Right.
But it has none of the audio in it. It's just the visual, which doesn't work for this stupid podcast, right?
Play it. You could have, a minute and a half of dead air. I'm fine with that.
That stuff usually gets cut out, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm told that we have an editor who does that.
I'm looking here, because if I find it, we're going to play it.
Of course.
And the other thing is like, so I have the version that's on Peacock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the version that's on Peacock is 48 minutes long of a 90-minute airtime show. I know they don't put the musical performances in there, right?
Sometimes they do, I think, but go ahead.
A lot of times they don't, I tell you.
Right. But there's probably 48 commercial breaks,
Yeah,
just going to fast forward through the whole thing so you can
I was doing it while we were talking here. So the Players With Yourself Club commercial, while I found where it said the episode that it's in was in, but it's not in there.
I was going to say, if you played it anyway, it probably would have got us knocked off YouTube anyway.
Maybe.
I don't know. But you're determined, son. You are determined.
Well, it's one of those things that popped into my head. We were talking about it, and
Don't ever come after me when I get my teeth in something, Joe. You are like a hound.
So how was your week?
So Thursday I went to see Planet of the Apes.
All right.
Which is the first movie of the new movies. They had their trilogy. And this is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So this is the new trilogy from that era. So it's set many generations past what we saw. We saw one of the Franco brothers. I don't know which one it is. The apes. They become smart, and we see it, and then till Caesar pretty much dies. Spoiler alert. So now the movie jumps many generations. So the apes are all over the place. They're in different clans, and a lot of them don't remember precisely what happens and everything like that. And so this is going to be the first of the new three. And through a series of events, the main character, who's an ape, ends up getting their clan stolen. So he goes to kidnapped by other apes, and he's going to go get them. And along the way, he learns the message of Caesar from the past movies, and he meets a human who can talk. Spoiler alert, but it's in the trailers.
Oh my goodness.
Right. So then it's them, and it's a good movie. It's of the newer ones. So there's four of the newer ones. It's probably my third favorite of the new one, but the new ones are all, we were discussing this when we saw it, are all sneaky good. Because nobody really talks about them. But if you're a Planet of the Apes fan, or you're just a sci-fi action movie fan, they're all really solid movies.
Right. I saw the first one. And you said that it has one of the Franco brothers, and I was going to say Franco Colombo. Was that who was in it?
Franco Harris.
Oh, Franco Harris.
Steelers.
No, but James Franco and John Lithgow were in the first of this run of these, right?
Right.
And I saw that one, and I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And I hear the other ones were good, but I just had no desire to I must see, gotta check these out,
The second one was way better. Not saying that because I like the first one, but the second one, where there's this circus ape that was trained, so it was beaten and stuff like that, and it is evil. It is truly evil, and it kind of actually, spoiler alert, betrays Caesar. But along the way, he does the to unarm soldiers, human soldiers, he'll do his circus bits for them. and then like in the snap of a hand go from like happy-go-lucky Homelander to psychopath Homelander kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. And then the third movie is which has Woody Harrelson, and the second movie I think has who played Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies, the one with Christian Bale. He was.
God damn it!
You know who I'm talking about.
I know who you mean. I feel like
he's a famous like good actor, which I was shocked to
his name is escaping me right now.
But he was in it, and then the third movie had Woody Harrelson. Looking up Dark Knight Rises right now because that's the only one I know. At the top of my head, Gary Oldman.
There you go.
Gary Oldman from Dracula, the good movie Dracula. But yeah, so I enjoyed them. This one didn't have any, like, this one was the one that if I showed you some of the people that were in like either CGI'd or in the movie, you might recognize them. But we're at the point now where we're going to save money by having all no names, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So we could keep this going. Though they did have in this movie, is it William H. Macy was in it for like he was the cred. He was in it for like a hot minute, you know. But
so
yeah, I enjoyed it. So
there was a tweet I came upon this weekend because this movie had come out, where it said, I liked when the Planet of the Apes sequels used to be 90 minutes of sitcom antics of two fan favorite pacifists. Two fan favorite pacifist talking chimps hanging out in LA, partaking in shopping montages, getting wine drunk, having a cute baby, and then the final minute of the movie is just the most harrowing shit you'll ever see.
I'd watch that movie. But yeah, so we went, a bunch of us went, and Scott and Milan were supposed to go, and she's never seen any of the new Planet of the Apes. I don't know if she's even seen any of the old ones, but we're like, she's talking to Scott, and she's like, yeah, so in case we go, which they didn't end up going due to scheduling conflicts, she's like, so I'm going to watch all the new ones. I'm going to watch all the new ones, and I can get caught up. And she rocketed through them, but she told them, she goes, yeah, so I'm going to start with the Tim Burton one. We're like, no, bad, don't.
Yeah, that one don't count.
That one don't count. Start with one with Franco Harris. So
right, Franco Colombo and Garp.
Yeah, so that was what happened. So, but anybody, like I said, people who like that kind of stuff should watch it. So I did that Thursday night. Then Friday night we had no Patreon show, so I ate dinner. Then around 1:00 in the morning, woke up and proceeded to almost just die from sickness.
Oh no!
It was, Joe, this weekend. I figured we'd start strong with Telly Savalas and Planet of the Apes. Then we plumbed the depths of my old man sicknesses. And then I figure we can go into your life and do the high point. So it's a roller coaster. This show is going to be a veritable roller coaster. So I wake up. It's midnight, 1:00. And I'm not making this up. I'm not doing the bit where you say top 5. It's the top 5 sickest I've ever been. And I'm counting the heart attack, right? And
so
I'm in
the running. Heart attack number 1 with a bullet. No question.
Right. So how can I put this delicately? It was both fronts and backs.
All right.
So, but I was sick. I was just sick. And it did not stop, like feeling sick until where it was like, okay, I don't want to take stupid measures to make all this stop. Around Monday, yesterday as we record, so Monday-ish, I was still feeling the effects of residual effects, like my stomach issues. The virus had gone. I thought it was food poisoning.
That was going to be my first question. Yes.
Right. Until I had to have, because I was so bad, I had to have my brother drop off stuff. Because I had nothing, like I had water here, but I wanted medicine, so I didn't get me Canada Dry.
Medicine.
And he dropped it off.
I'm drinking my medicine now, so yes.
Right. So he had to drop off a couple of things on Sunday. So today, as we record, my brother is ridiculously ill. So I'm guessing it's like a stomach error. You know what I mean? Like it's communicable, which I don't consider food poisoning communicable.
I was going to say, you gave whatever you had to him.
Right. He says he doesn't think so because he got it so fast after seeing me, but it's the exact same thing. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm having lingering effects. Like I said, my stomach issues are gone, but dizziness and weakness, is all there. I'm still sore. And to the point where I didn't go out. I won't even tell you some of the side effects that weren't stomach related because you tell me go to the hospital.
Just based on what you're telling me, I'm like, did you have somebody take you to Ready Care at least? Did you go to any of these things?
No, I took some ginger ale. Come on, man up. Right. So today is Tuesday's record. I finally, other than weakness, soreness, and dizziness, which I always get because I don't heal. I'm like my days of Wolverine healing are way over. So I linger on any sicknesses now. I'm good other than that. So I kind of have to, but I'm kind of keeping it low key. I didn't even go and pick up my omnibus this week because I'm like, I'll take a few days and go. Cause like I said, I don't want to get anybody sick at the shop either, but,
right.
I'm just like, we'll see if I survive. And I got to rest up for after one show. We have another show. I have a big plan. So I want to be well rested and healed by then. So,
well, if like I said, if you need to lay down, we could have postponed this. If you needed more than the 5 minutes.
No. The reason I'm powering through this, I look at this. If I could do this all dizzy, I mean, if I know someone who could package comics and draw on them while they're all dizzy, I could do that. I could do a podcast while I'm all dizzy.
All right.
That's my one shot. No, I was like, if I don't do this tonight, then it gets pushed back. Then I have to watch Man-Thing for the Patreon show. I'm like, we're powering through this.
All right.
So we can get these out of the way. Because no days off here, Joe. No days off.
Like I said, we could record the Patreon on Saturday if you need to,
Right, but we can't. I'm good. Let's put it this way. I'm I say dizzy and weak as long as I'm not doing stuff. If I'm laying down and just relaxing and watching TV, I'm 100% fine. There's nothing wrong. So I actually got up to go get my books today, and I got off the couch. I got in the truck. I'm like, well, let me do it. Either way, I got to go to the store and I want to get something for dinner because I don't have much here at the house. And I started driving to the store, and I just started to feel tired and a little more dizzy. And I was like, nope, not driving. I'm only a block away from the house. I'm going to turn around. And I sat. I had soup here in a can, which I didn't want, but I made. And I was just like, okay, it's, I don't feel sick because I ate. I'm just tired and a little dizzy when I stand. So I'm sitting in a chair. I got my feet up on my little step stool that I'm sitting here. I could do a podcast. I ain't going to die over that. I did a podcast a week and a half after I had a heart attack. We'll be okay.
All right.
Real, man. I'm a throwback, Joe.
You're old school.
I am. I'm old school. Weakness is for the weak, Joe.
Apparently so.
A lot of that's a bit, but you know what I mean. I just want to get it done. And I don't want to miss any episodes, so.
I gotcha. So we'll cut this as short as we possibly can. Cut. So this past weekend we went to Hershey with the kids. Took Asa and two of his little buddies. They're at the point where they can go off and do their own thing. He's testing the strength of that as contacting us and saying meet us here, and we go and meet him there, and he ain't there. And then we try to call him, and he ain't answering his phone. So it just adds to it. I rode 2 rides while I was there. One of those big free fall gimmicks and a roller coaster, which is the first time that I've been on a roller coaster since I went on the Harry Potter one when we were in Florida back in October. But prior to that, It's probably been about 10 years since I've been on a roller coaster.
Who do you think was sicker this weekend, you or me?
You, for sure.
Okay.
I was just a little jostled, you know?
Oh, okay.
But pictures were online. So, and again, I preface this by saying, April is banned from playing the ring toss game at Hershey Park now.
Yeah, I saw her with her stuffies that were bigger than her.
Yes. So they have a gimmick where it's like a whole bunch of like bottles that are set up, and they give you like, you can go, you pay like X amount of money for rings, and you get like this and this, or it's like $15 for a bucket of rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it says you play until you win. And we'd been there, we were there before, and she's like, oh, I know I could do this, right? She's really good at the crane machine games too.
Right.
So before she goes over and plays on Saturday, she goes and she pulls up on the YouTube, like she just puts in like how to beat like the ring toss game at carnivals. She watches this 1.5-minute video where the kid like explains how to do it. So she's like, okay, easy enough. So she buys the $15 bucket of rings, throwing, and she gets it on like the fourth one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that gets her one of the big prizes. So the guy's like, oh, I guess you can keep playing, right? So then she plays again.
Guy gets fired.
And the guy goes, okay, you can't play anymore. And she's like, what? He goes, yeah, I can like give you 2 of the big prizes. And she's like, well, I can't like get my money back or like give my rings to someone else. He's like, no, you're done. Now they have 2 different setups of these on different sides of the park.
Right.
We didn't try it at the other one where it was set up. It was different prizes. It was big stuffed animals, but it wasn't as big. It was like of the Hershey Park characters, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They were still pretty big, but not as big as the 2 that she had gotten there. But that was her crowning achievement. She was very proud of herself, you know?
Yeah, she's the taskmaster of your family. Yeah. So, like, she sees the video and she can immediately duplicate it.
Right. So then I took the picture on Wednesday because I knew it was coming up. And my car, my little piece of junk 2011 Hyundai, rolled over to 150,000 miles when I went to go pick up my comics this past week.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I rolled into the parking spot and it was 150,000 miles. I'm like, oh, look at this. Perfect. I'm like, let's keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, keep going is maybe about 30 more miles.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought we were going to end on a high spot.
Like, what was that?
I thought we were going to end on a high spot. We're ending on a low spot.
No, we're ending on a mid spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, no issues. Everything's running fine. I don't take the car out much. I'll drive it around the block maybe like once every other day. When it's raining out and I need to go do my Pokemon, I'll do it in the car. Sometimes I have to take the kids to school in it. The most driving it gets is going up to, the comic book shop once a week. But I still check everything. If there's a light on or if there's a thing, we check them and everything else like that. Okay. So Friday, I had a follow-up with my doctor from the appointment back in December where they gave me the prescription asthma inhaler gimmick. And it was just a follow-up to see if they need to, like, up the prescription on it or whatever, right? And he's like, you sound like you're fine with this one. You have your next appointment, you have your yearly in 6 months, so we'll come back and we'll revisit everything there. I mentioned it. Bloatfoot hasn't struck yet, but again, speaking it into existence, I'm worried, right?
I think I took all the ailments for this year, so but go ahead.
Yeah. So on my way home, I'm like, okay, well, I still got to get to work. But I'll go and I'll drive through. I'll go through the drive-through at McDonald's and get something. Go through the drive-through at McDonald's. I'm a person away from the window, and my car just stalls out.
Uh-oh.
And it's pouring rain outside, and I'm like, son of a bitch. And I'm in the drive-through line, right? So I'm trying to turn it over, and so what happened was it was just idling, right? You're in the drive-through lane, you're idling, and all of a sudden, like the oil light comes on. The battery light comes on, and then it just stalls out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker, right? So, like me, I'm like, well, I can't be sitting here in the drive-through lane like this. I'm holding everybody else up. So I, like, push the car out of the drive-through lane in neutral just so it's out of the lane.
Right.
I go in, I go, hey, I was the guy who was just stalled out there. Can I get my food? Just so I have my food. And I don't live that far from McDonald's. I'm like, okay, at least if I can get started, I can get it home. It will be good. And we'll figure it out from there. So takes a couple times, turns over. I drive like the 2 miles to get it home. No problem. But I don't touch the car. That was Friday. Don't touch it on Saturday. Don't touch it on Sunday. Monday, I go, let's drive it around the block and see what happens. Right? So when I brought it home on Friday, I checked all because like the oil thing came on and the battery came in. I just got a new battery less than a year ago. Less than a year ago, I got a new battery in that car. So I checked the oil. Oil's fine. Any of the other fluids that I have the ability to check, like power steering fluid, coolant, all those other things. I check everything. Everything's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday it sits. Monday, I take it for a cruise around the block just to see if anything happens. I'm like, even if it like stalls out, I'm close enough to home. I could push it home or push it off to the side of the road and we can come deal with it later. Mm-hmm. No problems. Everything's cool on Monday. So today I decide to do the same thing. I go, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I'm going to go for a little bit more of a cruise, right?
Uh-oh.
And it's just like, an extra like 4 blocks in the loop. And as I'm making the left to come onto my street, as I'm turning, it stalls out. And I'm like, motherfucker. So I just like kind of, ease it over to the side of the road. There's nobody behind me. Start back up. And the same thing happened. It was like the oil light comes on, battery light comes on, it just stalls out. So I'm like, I'm on my street. I can get it home. And from there, it's like 5 houses down as I'm making the turn to go into my driveway. It stalls out again. And I'm like, fuck. So as soon as I get in from that, I give a buzz to my mechanic. I said, hey, here's what's going on. I saw you on the weekend. I didn't bring it up because I didn't think it was a big deal. There was other shit going on. But what could we do, right? So he's like, bring it in Thursday and we'll see what's going on. I don't know. I'm not a car guy, but this is a new one on me.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of, like with the lights coming on, is do the lights come on while the car's still running? Do you know what I mean? Okay, that's what I'm asking. Because if they're coming on while the car's dying, that just means it. Like you said, if you turn the key off and the engine isn't running, it's still in the on position. You don't have oil pressure. You don't have you don't have battery, so it's letting you know. You know what I mean? But that's the only answer I have. That or somebody finally got you with some sugar in the tank. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So it just stinks. I hate having car issues. It costs money. We just talked last week about us getting the thing with the new tub gimmick, right? Mm-hmm. So that's money, and I'm hoping we could just like patch it for another year and see what happens. Like I said, I don't drive much at all, but still need to have something just in case there's an emergency or just in case it's raining or I got to pick the kids up or whatever it is, right?
Oh, you gotta have it. It's you're a 2-parent house with 2 people on to go. So
yeah. So that's that. And then April's gone this weekend. She's going to Alabama for a wedding. So at least I'll have her car while she's gone. Because I got a busy weekend. But yeah, that's it.
When she leaving?
She is leaving Friday afternoon, and then she is coming home Monday night.
Gotcha. I was just wondering, how long you'd have the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're flying out of Wilkes-Barre, so it's like an easy trip.
Mm-hmm.
Getting her to and from, picking her up, and that's a late Monday night. So, that's that.
Got you.
But that's it. That's what my week was. That's what my week forecast looks like. Hopefully I come back next week and I have good news, just a patch. They put some gum in the tank and it was fine, or whatever the hell it was.
Mm-hmm. Something's like a wire's loose. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then hopefully your issues are no problems either, right?
Yeah. Or you have to find a new co-host.
Yeah. No, the show just ends.
Good.
But again, I don't know how. We'll have to figure out what will happen to the Patreon. Patreon.com/longbox Go sign up there. We got Man Thing coming up this weekend. for Comic Book Oddities. We're fresh off May of 1994, previewing the past. And there was some developments. If there wasn't developments last weekend or last week here in regards to the future of the previewing the past, we found a hole and we plugged the hole almost immediately, and that's a fun story that we're going to save for the next previewing the past.
Right. I'll just say we plugged that hole so the whole Patreon ship will not sink.
Yes. At least for those 30 or 40 months or whatever it is, right?
God, Jesus.
Oh, it's fun to put numbers on things. It makes you really feel...
because then I feel like I'm locked in for the rest of my life. Because that's about it, I think.
Well, not the rest of your life, just the rest of the previews' life.
Right, which I honestly think the previews is going to outlast me.
Well, they've lasted this long.
Yep, so...
All right, well, thank you, everybody, for listening. This was Longbox Heroes
You're
After Dark
to the
495.
soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.